Hello. What's happened? Why am I not on the ad stage? Oh, hang on. That's right. Hello. There we are. Okay, good. I'm here. Well, welcome to another edition of Chew the Fat on this fine Sunday. We haven't done one of these for a while because schedules and things have been busy. But we're going to try and fit in a few of these before we do a Sunday regular, which will be starting again in July. We're still might be the next season of The Shield, might be the prequel season of Spartacus TV series, Stars Productions. There's a couple of other things we're debating. We might do Band of Brothers Pacific. Those are all ones that we want to do before the end of the year. We also do Chew the Fat episodes on movies. And today is one of those. We're going to be talking about the top 5 films of my panel that take place primarily on board a train. So at least 50% of the running time in order for the film to qualify has to take place on a train. So, of course, there are many films that are set on trains, either entirely or in part. And we'll be talking about some of them today. We'll probably... Now, none of us know what our top 5 lists are. We have not conferred on this matter, but we'll be finding that out as we go along. And we're also going to score points on them. So the one that comes first place scores 5 points, second place 4, and so on. And we'll see what is the king. What is the king of the train movies? But before we get to that, let me bring in my panel of esteemed guest. The esteemed guest couldn't make it, but Inside Man is here.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, very good. I've been looking forward to this one actually. It's I think we've been speaking about this for a number of months actually. In fact, I would say I can recall that when we did our top 5 fantasy movies with Matthew Holmes,
Yeah.
way back a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
we started talking about this, and it was one that cropped up. So it's been a long time coming, but then most trains, certainly in the UK, are delayed anyway. So it's it's not
Indeed.
quite on time. Yeah.
So we're in keeping with British culture in that respect.
Yeah. Definitely.
But because it's just me and Inside Man, we needed more glamour and class for this program. And well, if you want glamour and class, you go to Rachel Percy Art, who's also here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you're very much appreciated. So yeah, how are you? How are you doing? How's your week been?
I'm doing all right. Just a stressful week as always.
Right. Life and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Okay, well, for the next couple of hours, you can chillax and talk about train films, which is what we're gonna get into today. It's interesting because I sort of was thinking, okay, I'm going to pick 5, and I started doing my list, and pretty soon I had 10. So I was like, oh, okay, now I've got to start kicking some off. Which ones do I kick off here? So that was quite difficult. But my list is more or less what I thought it would be. So we'll get into it. But before we do, just to say, the Nielsen ratings will be on this Tuesday, but the week after that, there will be no Nielsen ratings because we will be filming. We'll be on set. So there won't be one. It will be suspended for a week. And it will return the following Tuesday, which I think is the last Tuesday of June, or it might be the first Tuesday of July. I'll have to check that for you. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it. Starting with number 5. Now, if I was really cool and prepared, I'd have a cool, like, funky graphic, and I'd be able to put like a number 5 up or something. But I don't. So, because I'm not cool and prepared. I'm totally unprepared. I'm also not very good with graphics either. So I leave that to the likes of the talented Rachel Percy and artists and stuff. So yeah. So what stuff my guests have picked? We're going to be doing our number 5 picks first. So let's go there. Okay. So Rachel, ladies first. You can tell us your pick. Number
Well,
5.
like you were saying, it's a hard list to make, isn't it? The
Yeah.
train is really the perfect setting. But for my number 5, I had to go with the remake of Murder on the Orient Express. There's a lot of problems with it, I know, but I personally love it.
Is that the Kenneth Branagh one?
It is indeed.
Oh, I fucking hated that film. Sorry.
That's fine.
I hated that film. All the stale CG and stuff. It just felt so, and the lighting was really flat and boring. And
That's the thing with that entire trilogy. Either you love it or you hate it. There's really no in between that I've found with most people. I'm one of those people that, except for the third one, I wasn't into that one as much. I did like the other two.
Right.
Yeah, that's my low list pick. Low level on the list.
All right. Well, we unfortunately we are obliged to talk about it. So as you picked it, this came out in 2017. Murder on the Orient Express. So this is Rachel's number 5 pick, which means it scores 1 point. Un point. And it was directed by Kenneth Branagh, who also played Poirot in the film. No ego there.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just sort of. I got. Do you know what? I didn't even finish watching this.
Really?
No, I watched it with my then partner, and we were both half an hour in, and I just said, I don't like this. I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the way it looks. It just doesn't really feel like they're there. It feels like this is all in a green screen studio. I just don't like this. And she said, no, this is boring. And that was it. We turned it off. So that's my experience.
Wow.
But it's your pick, Rachel. Justify it being in the list. Why have you chosen this over the many, many dozens of other superb train films? Why has this carved its way as your number 5? What's going on? No. Rachel, hello? Have we lost her? Oh, she's muted. Why are you muted? Hang on. Let's try unmuting. Can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. Oh, okay. Something must have happened. All right. So, have you seen this, Inside Man?
I have, and I'm in your camp. I have to be honest with you. It didn't do anything for me. I was kind of looking forward to it. You know, I remember being at one point down at the studio when this was being made, and I wasn't too hopeful because I thought, I think David Suchet had recently done his version of it on the Poirot TV series. So
yeah, I quite like that. I quite like that one.
It was actually quite shortly after. It wasn't that long after David Suchet's version, I believe. It just, I don't know, it fell very, very short, and it just seemed like a little bit of a show of egos going on there. I have to be honest.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I didn't really.
It's not. I don't like Branagh as Poirot either.
No. I mean, he's a lovely actor. I mean, I know you've worked with him. I've worked with him.
Yeah.
And he's a smashing bloke. There's no question of that. He's a terrific bloke. He's a terrific director, and he's a terrific actor. But I just don't feel that this was worthy of his immense talent, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Rachel, do we have you back?
Is it picking up now? I fixed it.
I thought you were muted due to a family domestic or something.
Oh no, it was StreamYard. It doesn't like me.
Okay, so Rachel, you chose this film, which me and Inside Man care not for. Please justify why it made it to your top 5 list above all the other train movies that could have had that spot.
There could have been a lot there, honestly, really. But I do love this kind of mystery. And that is what makes me love this movie. It has its problems. I really would say that it's the performances that makes me love it as much as I do.
It does have Judi Dench in it, to be fair. I mean,
Yeah.
anything.
Jodie.
You've got to give it a point for that at least.
Yeah, no, I'd give it a point for that. I always give Judi Dench
but it really, it's an excellent cast, and it's one of the few times I think that the ensemble worked in these 3 movies. It didn't in the next 2 for sure.
Right.
And yeah, it does have some CGI that I could have done without. I mean, they could have done better sets.
It's got a lot of CGI that looks awful.
Yeah, it does. I'm not a fan of CGI, but we're in that era where it's what we've got. You got to take what you can get. But yeah, I do love this movie. I know you all have good points. You both have good points. But
well, that's all right. I mean, look, you can't be wise all the time. What are you scoring this out of 10?
Well, I would put it at a 7. I know there's problems, but I think that the performances elevate it to a 7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Interesting. Inside Man, you have seen it. What would you score it?
2 at best. It's but look, we all like different things for different reasons, and it's as simple as that. And I am 100% positive that some of the films that I'm going to have in my list that Rachel will say, "Oh no, that's a terrible movie." But
I'm not sure how many Italian police dramas from the 70s are set on board trains, but I'm sure we're about to find out.
There are a few.
Yeah,
at least 5. At least 5.
at least 5. Just shout out to people in the chat here. We've got Blibbity Blop, one of my mods is in.
Hey.
Bo Romeo's in, actor from up Birmingham way. Hi there. It's kind of a coincidence you're going to talk about trains here. Earlier, I was itching to interact with a train in the open world of a game many are playing right now. I'm appreciating the striking red thumbnail for this stream. Open world game that people can interact with a train. Would that be Red Dead Redemption?
Gotta be.
That's the only one I can think of, unless there's a new one out that's got something like this. My score for this film would be a 4. Give it a couple of points for some of the cast. Great. I mean, Johnny Depp is pretty fun in this, although he is twirling that moustache to the max. Just a tad. Okay, all right. So that scores a point. All right. I don't think it's in anyone else's lists, so I don't think it's going to take the crown. Inside Man, what's your number 5 pick?
My number 5 is the 1978 version of The Lady Vanishes with Sybil Shepherd and Elliot Gould.
Now, I absolutely love that version. I think it's the first one that I saw. Yeah, it's a great version.
Really. I mean, I love. Don't get me wrong. I adore the original Hitchcock version. I really do. It's just that, and it's not the fact that it's been updated. It's been updated, or it's been altered correctly. It's been remade correctly, I think. I mean, both Elliot Gould and Sybil Shepherd. I mean, Sybil Shepherd is utterly, utterly stunning in this movie, and she is such a very, very smart actress. I really do like her a lot. I've got a lot of respect for her. But the dialogue, the interaction between her character and Elliot Gould's character, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. In fact, I would say that it's kind of a sort of proto Moonlighting. The way that back and forth, and both having their dialogue spoken at the same time, but both reacting to each other's dialogue as they're both as they're both delivering it, it's amazing. It's an amazing performance by the pair of them. I mean, I adore Elliot Gould anyway. But of
Sure.
course, you know, I mean, for anybody that doesn't really know what the story is, so we have a group of strangers that board a train in Germany, and on board this train is a lovely kind of little spinster lady, her who on the face of it seems very meek and mild and very sweet, you know, an English governess, and she's been living in Germany looking after the children of a prominent German ambassador, I believe. And of course, we're actually on the verge of the Second World War breaking out. Things are going pretty badly. So we are at the time where, you know, the little kind of the guy with the little Charlie Chaplin moustache has really kind of taken hold of both Austria and Germany. And it turns out that this little spinster lady is not quite all she seems. And halfway through the journey, she disappears, she vanishes, hence the title. And the only person that really has any understanding or appears to have any understanding of her vanishing is the Sybil Shepherd character. And of course, people are a little bit wary about owning up to knowing this lady and seeing, you know, having witnessed this lady sitting down having supper with Sybil Shepherd. And so they want to get back to England. They want to get, you know, make sure they get all their connections so they can get back to England on time. So everybody denies having seen her, so they don't have to stop the train to investigate. But you know, loads of mystery ensues, and we got some amazing character actors, particularly British character actors on board this train. So we have characters of Charters and Caldecott played by Arthur Lowe and Ian Carmichael, who are brilliant together. I mean, two stalwart British actors, just superb, brilliant dialogue between them. But it's a lovely film, beautifully shot, and yeah, just great. Absolutely, it's a real hoot. It's a great mystery.
Well, for those people watching, and this was nearly one of my picks, funnily enough, but it's kind of in my special mention, so I don't have to give it a special mention now. Yeah, I really love this film. It's also my favorite version. It's all on YouTube. Shall we have a quick look at a clip?
Oh wow!
Flag. But yeah, great stuff. And there's Arthur Lowe sticking his head out the door from Dad's Army.
Yeah.
In that clip. Yeah, good choice. Great film. Definitely, like I said, in my opinion, it's the best version. I saw this on TV, I think, one Christmas, part of the Christmas holiday lineup. It was directed by Anthony Page, who he did a really good TV movie called The Missiles of October, which I've got the DVD box set of that, and a few other things, but not loads of stuff. I don't know what his next biggest thing would have been, but this was certainly one of his major cinema releases. He did an awful lot of TV movies if you look at his credits.
The thing that really switched me onto this was, I mean, you know about this, Lance. You know the TV series Clapperboard. They did a Clapperboard.
Oh God,
special.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
they did an episode on it, didn't they?
They did a whole episode of Clapperboard on this, and they were talking about the stunts and everything. And there was this great stunt where Elliot Gould, you know, or at least you think that it's Elliot Gould that's climbing out of the train. So you have his arms outside of the train, then his head pops out. So you see that it's definitely Elliot Gould, and then obviously his head pops in, and then you see a guy that's dressed up just like Elliot Gould. So you have the continuity with the arms of the stuntman. So there's, you know, and they were showing you all these tiny little tricks that deceive you into believing that you're seeing something that you're actually not. But it's a lovely film. It really is a lovely film. It's gentle, but it's, you know, it's very, very funny as well. I just think there's an awful lot of humor in this movie.
Interesting that it's a Hammer movie as well, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Who are mainly known for horror films.
And distributed by the Rank organization. Yeah.
They did a few mysteries here and there.
Yeah, they did.
Mostly
Yes.
horror.
Yeah. But yeah, they really, they had their fingers in the pies of so many different genre. I mean, obviously, Jason Flemyng's father directed the Doctor Who movies with Peter Cushing.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and of course, we also had, I think, the Quatermass experiment, Quatermass in the Pit as well, the movie versions of those.
Yeah, that's right. And
know.
Jason was in a later adaptation of one of them, funnily enough. They did the more recent one. He was in that.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I've still not seen it, actually. It was like a TV special or something. I can't remember.
Was that the John Mills one?
Was done in the early 2000s sometime.
Was it? Right.
Yeah,
No, I didn't know that. No, I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. Okay, so good pick. Good pick, Inside Man. We'll nudge that Kenneth Branagh off the tracks there. Oh, see what I did there?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least one of us had a good pick.
Time for well, you gotta pick your things. Okay, so I've got a couple of special mentions, runner-ups that didn't quite make it into my list, but I do want to give a shout out to them. One of those would be Cassandra Crossing. We've already talked about it.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
I'm not going to get into it now, but we talked about it on the last Nielsen ratings because it was the oldie film pick. But I do want to talk about an old movie that I didn't see until much, much, much later in life. That came out in 1964, of all things. I think the entire film is on YouTube, I believe. This was directed by John Frankenheimer, who's one of my favorite directors. It's a black and white film, and it's called The Train, starring Burt Lancaster.
Yeah.
So aptly titled for train movies. And it's not the big action movie that it makes out to be, but basically the story of this film, and it's a really, really good movie, is the Germans are stealing all the art because they're retreating from the Western Front. D-Day's happened. Yeah. And Burt Lancaster sort of heads up a resistance network, and they basically collude in a plan to divert the train so that the antiquities will end up in Allied hands. And they send the train on a place that the direction that the people on board the train don't think it's going. And how they do this is they disguise all the stations en route and rename all the platforms and give them names that the drivers think they're actually on the correct route, and all these signal men and people are in it, so that eventually this train full of all this like Nazi stolen art have been captured. But it's also a battle of wits between Burt Lancaster's character and the German commander who's in charge of the train. And I like I said, I watched it very late in life. Paul Schofield, that's right, he was a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
and
amazing actor.
Yeah, you got Wolfgang Priest in there, of course. The go-to German actor of the day. He's such a good actor. But this is a really, really good movie. It's interesting to see Paul Schofield here when, if you saw the movie adaptation of the the witch hunt thing with the this really famous play where the women
the Crucible.
The Crucible, right.
Yeah.
Paul Schofield was like Denham, the town chairman or whatever. And he was really great in that role. So it's really interesting to see him here where he's so much younger. But he's such a good actor in this, and it's just a really good film. And actually the black and white films have got a certain kind of charm, and they're shot very differently. So they do all these things to delay the train and one thing and another, but it's a good film. It's not a big action war movie. There is action in it, but it's more of a kind of it's more like a heist film, really.
It is.
So that's one of the ones it nearly made it on my list, but I sort of it got kicked off in the end because I kind of picked the ones for rewatch value.
It's a very, very good film. It's a very good film, and John Frankenheimer. I mean, I'm sorry to drop a few names here, but I
Mm.
did actually work with him on something called the Holcroft Covenant, sort of years
Yeah.
back when I was
How
a
was he?
youngster.
How was he on set?
Mm.
Grumpy.
Yeah, I've heard that about him. I heard he was pretty grumpy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
follows.
But yeah, I mean, a director who gets the job done. But I don't think there's any question that the guy could really direct. So
Mhm.
regardless of whether he was grumpy or not, he has made some exceptional movies.
Mm. Well, so that brings me to my number 5 pick. And it's actually a TV movie, but it is a feature film, so it does count. Saw this on television one afternoon. It was on like a Sunday afternoon, something like that. And I really liked this film, and it's all on YouTube, so you can find it. And that is the 1979 movie, The Orphan Train.
Oh, yeah.
So this is a sort of loosely based on a true story about a train of children orphans that was organised by, I think, this school teacher to take these kids across America. It was, I think, it was set during the aftermath of the Civil War. There was a lot of orphan kids, and parents were killed in the war and stuff like that. And the idea was to find loving families for these kids. The reality is, a lot of them ended up like basically working as forced labor on farms and shit like that. God knows what else. But one of the interesting things about this piece is it follows a character called Liverpool, who's they're two brothers, and the older brother's called Liverpool, and that brother is played by my old acting coach, Graham Fletcher Cook, who sadly passed away in I think it was 2019. And but I'd known Graham for years, but it wasn't until he died that I realized he was the lead child actor in this film, because the guy who ran the orphan train Facebook group came over for the funeral. And yeah, that's so. Anyway, Jill Eckenberry from LA Law stars as the teacher, or the lady who's trying to sort of help everybody else. Glenn Close has got a small role in it. And the child actors in the film are very good. It is a bit dated, hence why it's number 5 in my list. But I do really like it as a film. As a story, it's quite charming. How I think this is a very sanitized version of the reality. But, as a charming film, 1854 it's set, right? 10,000 abandoned orphan children living on the streets of New York City. Out of this desperate situation was born the Orphan Train, fictionalized account based on true events. But I like it. It's got its fans, and it's just very watchable. Like I say, it's on YouTube. So, have either of you seen it?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, yeah. It is a good film, actually. I haven't seen it for a long time, but yeah, it is a very, very good film. Yeah, do you know what? I'd forgotten all about this until you've just mentioned it. It's like, oh God, yeah.
There's
Yeah, I
my
remember this.
dearly departed friend and mentor, Graham Fletcher Cook. There he is. And sadly, I don't think there's a picture of him in Orphan Train. However, let me jump on the Facebook group and see if we can see what's there. Yeah, what about you, Rachel? Have you seen it?
I have not, but I will. Sounds like it's great.
Yeah, the copy of the copy that's on YouTube is quite poor quality, because this is back in the day when made for TV movies were like, they might have been shot on film, but they were then often transferred on to tape, or whatever.
Yeah.
So and of course didn't do so great.
Yeah, you run into that a lot.
Find this Facebook group. Hang on. So I've been a member of this group for ages. Now I want to go to look for it. I can't find it. Typical, isn't it? Typical.
That's
Right.
Facebook for you.
Yeah, well, maybe the group's gone. I don't know. Friends who like Orphan Train the musical. Oh, hang on. Here we go. I got it. Yeah. So if let me share this page for a second. So, this is the main cast. You can see Graham's here at the back here, towards the back anyway. And these are the child actors. Child actors in this were very, very good. And a number of these child actors are members of this group. I think there are 3 of them that are deceased. Oh, here we go. Actually, so it might not be on YouTube anymore because Arthur James Giamatti, who I think was in the film, received an email from YouTube that Orphan Train has been removed because of a copyright claim. So, and they've asked if, because it's never been released on DVD. So, there you go. Because they're all trying to get it. I know, right? It's such an old film.
Yeah, they pull down movies that you may not have another way to ever see it.
Yeah.
And drives me crazy.
This is like, there's a whole load of behind the scenes pictures, people took with the cameras of the day during filming and stuff, which is quite nice. That's the original train that was used in the film. So here's a load of the cast and posing for a photo. Some of the scenes were shot. So yes, there's quite a lot of stuff to see here. And there's, by the way, there's 2 different versions of it. There's a longer and a shorter edit. So there's 2 different versions. Yeah. So Peter Newman's character in this, Ben, is killer. So tugs on the heartstrings a little bit. But yeah. So there you go. That's my number 5. All right. Okay. So we move on to number 4. So all the films that got picked in the number 5 spot win a point. But the films in the number 4 spot get 2 points. Now, if somebody brings up a film that's already on your list, but it's higher up, we're only going to discuss that film one time. So you're going to have to fess up that it is on your list. You don't need to say where, and we'll discuss it at that moment. All right. So number 4. So Rachel, what do you have for your number 4?
Continuing my newer movie list.
You haven't picked another rubbish film, have you?
Well, maybe it depends on how you feel about it.
Well, indeed. Please.
Yeah.
I brace myself for shock. Go for it.
For number 4, I picked Howl, which is from 2015.
Howl.
Howl. HOWL.
Oh, yeah.
He knows what I mean. Thank God.
Yeah, yeah.
And what year was that?
2015.
Yeah.
And it's Howl. HOWL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Elliot Cohen and Rosie Day.
Yes.
Yeah. Passengers on a train are attacked by a creature. They must band together to survive until morning. I've not seen this film.
I've got this on Blu-ray actually.
Well, okay, but you're going to have to be quiet inside, man, because not your turn to speak yet. Let Rachel dive in. So, Rachel, this is your pick. So before Inside Man gets too excited and, splooges everywhere. Sean Pertwee's in this. I love Sean Pertwee. Quite like Ed Spielers as an actor as well. The younger Jason Flemyng, we call him. Talk to us about the film. Tell us a bit about it and why you've picked it.
Sean Pertwee is why I watched this movie for the first time. That is why I watched this movie. But then when I got into it, I realized this is the perfect setting for a horror movie. A train is the perfect setting for this kind of horror movie. Because you are in such an enclosed space. If you think about it, the sides of a train car are not that far apart. So you don't really have that much room to escape something coming in at you. And the tension in this movie is so perfect. The characters are well written. Everybody does a wonderful job with the parts that they're given. Ed Spielers surprised me because the only thing before this I saw him in was Aragon, and that's not a good movie.
Yeah.
No, it's not a good movie. Yeah, but he was very young.
Yeah, he was. He was a baby then. It's okay. We forgive. But when I watched it, I was kind of dubious. Like, are they going to ruin this movie with the look of the creature? It's so easy to do. And I don't think they did. They took a different take on it, and it's great. Honestly, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fab. Oh, that might be the creature. So, Inside Man, you've got the Blu-ray, as you said earlier.
Yeah, it's do you know, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I got this little bit of a thing for werewolf movies, right? And
Yes.
and I thought, yeah, this sounds quite intriguing. And I put it on. I thought, my God, this is actually very, very tense. I mean, it's so you have this group of sort of disparate passengers. They all have their little idiosyncrasies and quirks and personalities. They've all got their all got their problems. They've all got some kind of issue, and they're on this railway journey out of London, and they're going through some rural stations, and of course the train comes to a halt, and it's ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the delay, blah 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 blah, the usual stuff. So, we should be getting going in about another 15 minutes or so. And of course, something happens. I don't want to say what, but something happens. But there's something that Rachel mentioned, which I think is a brilliant point, and that is that you're right. The train, it's such a confined space, and it's such an amazing setting for this kind of movie, a horror movie, a thriller movie, a mystery movie, because especially when you're trying to escape something, some sinister force or creature, you can only escape in one direction. You can't go anywhere else. You've only got the length of the train in which to escape. There's nowhere else to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a very, very unusual ending, which I did not see. Just couldn't anticipate where it was going to go. Very, very good film. I really enjoyed it. Evidently low budget, but boy, did they do a great job on it. They did a fantastic job on the creatures. But what was fascinating to me was that they actually shot this. They built the railway carriage in an old warehouse. So it was all in a warehouse. It wasn't in a studio or anything like that. So it was an old warehouse, I think, somewhere in London. So even the exteriors outside of the carriage when they disembark in the middle of the night, that's all done in this warehouse. And they made fantastic use of the space. But it's a great choice. I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie, and this is definitely on my honourable mention list. Absolutely.
I've never seen it.
It's terrific.
I don't think I'd even heard of it before today. So, guys, I will be watching it, and I'll get back to you and let you know what I think. Oh my God, I've just realised we've got the wrong. I'm so glad that my guests point out these things when I make these mistakes. We've got the wrong thing going. That's the thing we should have scrolling along the bottom.
Yeah, we wanted to leave it for you. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that.
We wanted to see whether you'd noticed.
Yeah, well, I did notice now. Yeah. So we'll just correct that. There we go. Top 5 movies on trains. Well, the interview with Robert O'Connor was the other day. That was a great interview. Lovely chat. Okay, How is Rachel's number 4 pick? Inside Man. It's your go. But before we hear your interesting choice, I just wanted to see who directed this. Let's have a quick look. And have they gone on to greater things? Directed by Paul Hyatt. That name rings a bell. Definitely heard that name. Okay, he worked on the makeup apartment for Doomsday, Attack the Block, and mainly prosthetics. Okay, so this is a makeup guy that basically did a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he knows
that
his stuff.
Usually works.
Yeah, no, I have heard of him. Because I knew the name, and I was thinking, where do I know that name from? But it wasn't written by him. Writers were Mark Huckabee and Nick Osler. I'm assuming that's like a writing partnership. Creator of Peter Rabbit, which obviously you would put immediately next to a horror film. Wolves, rabbits. Well, they both live in the woods, don't they? Nick Osler has worked on also Peter Rabbit. So I guess these guys have worked together before. So yeah, okay. So Inside Man, what's your number 4 pick?
My number 4 pick is the first version of Murder on the Orient Express with Albert Finney as Poirot, with also Richard Widmark and John Gielgud and Sean Connery and Michael York. Another wonderful ensemble cast, but my God,
that's the version directed by Sidney Lumet, isn't it?
Sidney Lumet, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like this one.
I mean, it really disturbed me, this one. When I first saw this as a kid, I was really quite disturbed by it.
Yeah, because the ending is quite grim, isn't it?
But it's I think it's really because of the motive for the murder of the character. It's, you have this terrible motive, which was obviously based on the Lindbergh baby case, back in the day. I mean, very heavily influenced by the Lindbergh kidnapping. And many of the characters were also based on characters within that sphere at the time. And I think she may have got a little bit of flack for it, actually, because it was very, very close to what the story was. But it's a terrible crime that's committed by one of the passengers on the train, and of course, somebody wreaks revenge. So yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful book. I do love the book, but this version of the movie, I think it's just so well directed. I mean, Albert Finney isn't the most convincing of Poirot's,
yeah, he's all right.
He's a Poirot that, I wouldn't I wouldn't put him up there with any of the others, but even without him, it's great. I mean, we have the who's who of the acting world of that time. I think what this was 1977, was it? 76, 77?
79. It was 79.
79.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Johnny Gielgud's in there.
Yeah.
Colin Blakely's, who's an actor I really liked, and he died quite young. He did that great 2-part miniseries on Operation Julie, which is the first big anti-drugs unit in the operation in the UK. Really good little film, that. But yeah, you can see him here in the background. Great actor, great character actor he was. Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. And he is, I mean, I love Anthony Perkins, got to be honest with you. I think he was a grossly underused actor, I think.
Yeah, he got a bit typecast after Psycho, which was a real shame.
Yeah.
Grossly underused, I mean, criminally underused. I just think he was a really, I mean, I think Psycho 2, I'm sorry to sidetrack, but Psycho 2, I think, is a beautiful performance that he gives in Psycho 2. I really do.
It actually is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lovely film, though. It's grim. It's very, very dark, and there are moments in it that are very disturbing, especially when you have the whole recounting of the murder. The way it's done is just masterful, and I think you could only probably get that from Sidney Lumet. Lovely and lovely soundtrack as well. Really good score.
Yeah, I remember the score for this. It was a good score. Who did the score? Do you remember?
Cracky. I'm normally up on this, and I for the life of me, I cannot remember.
Well, let's have a quick look, and we'll see.
And I do have it. It's like a double CD with Death on the Nile.
And I think there are a few different Poirot Agatha Christie's that were made in the 70s, but they weren't all made by the same production company, were they? They were different people.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah, and it was one of these things where, the Christie estate were very careful on which books they wanted or they were okay with having adapted, and they did have overall control over the material. So but of course, we had Peter Ustinov's Poirot, and he, regardless of whether he looks or sounds nothing like we would expect Poirot to look and sound like, this huge sort of bear of a man. But I do find his Poirot really quite attractive, charming, and charismatic.
So it's interesting. The composer was Richard Rodney Bennett, and he also did the instrumental music for Four Weddings and a Funeral. And I have to say, I really like the music in that film. It hasn't got a massive instrumental score, but what there is very good. He also did a number of other Agatha Christie's. The Attic, The Hiding of Anne Frank. That's a good TV movie. Just going to go back to his earlier work and see what else we have here. A lot of TV stuff. Sherlock Holmes in New York. So
good movie.
Yeah. Nicholas and Alexandra. He did the score for that. $1 Billion Brain. That had a good score.
Yeah. Len Dayton. Yeah.
He did the 60s version of Far from the Maddening Crowd, which I don't think I've seen. Billy Liar.
Great movie.
Yeah, so I mean he's done a few good ones there. So yeah, that's the man who did the score. I forgot to ask, what would you guys give Howl out of 10?
Obviously Rachel has to go first because this was her pick. So,
well, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Really.
Yeah. For Howl? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I would.
What would you?
I've got to be honest with you. I'm going to have to agree with Rachel on this. I do enjoy it. I enjoy rewatching this. Yeah. And it was nearly there on my list, nearly there. But I had, obviously you have to be really quite discerning, but definitely a 9. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun movie.
Okay. And then what's your rating for this out of 10, Inside Man, for the
do you know, I've got to say a 10 because it's masterfully directed. And you can't go wrong with this ensemble cast. I just love watching them interact. It's just lovely to see all these people on the same set.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
And also this is when you have one of the differences between this and the newer version. We have some amazing back screen projection, as we had with The Lady Vanishes, some amazing back screen and front screen projection for the journey out of the windows. And it can still be done and look very, very convincing, on a train journey with big windows. So, I'll go with the old methodology of, of movie making every time.
All right. Okay. That brings us to my number 4 pick then. Dun, 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 dun. So let me just take this screen down for a moment. And this one might be on your list, Inside Man. If it is, don't tell us where, but you can also chip in when I've said my piece. So I saw this at the cinema in 1990. I remember I went to see 3 films that day, and this was the last movie that I saw in the evening. It stars my favorite actor of all time, who sadly passed away at the beginning of this year, which is Gene Hackman. And this is Narrow Margin.
Yeah.
With Gene Hackman and Anne Archer. Basically, it's the story of Anne Archer is the date for a businessman. The businessman is having some dealings with the mob, and she's in his apartment when they come to sort of, collect their dues, so to speak, and they kill him. She's the only person that's witnessed this, so she's going to get taken into witness protection. Gene Hackman's character in this, I forget, he's not like a field agent with a gun. He's more of a legal guy.
Yeah.
And their own office has been penetrated, so there's a mole, so someone's leaking information. What's really great about it is the various characters, including the different bad guys that are on the train, trying to outwit Hackman and find where the witness is. And I absolutely love James Seeking, often credited by James B. Seeking, who's in this film. He was a fantastic character actor, always good value. He's particularly good in this, and he has a great dialogue scene with Hackman where, he's basically saying to Hackman, look, the people I work for are authorized to, give you a load of money if you just, give the girl to us, sort of thing. And he's, why would I want to do that? It's just got this great sort of banter going back and forth between them, where he doesn't give anything away. And it's a really, really good movie. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Gripping edge of the seat stuff. Couple of twists and turns in it as well. And Archer and Hackman have really good chemistry together. Directed by Peter Hyams, who's one of my favorite directors, who was going to come on the channel. But it didn't happen. I'm still trying to follow up to see why. I think it might have been ill or something like that. So, this one for me gets a 9 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic film. Has anybody else in my panel seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's on my list too.
Okay. Oh, all right. So, Rachel, if it's also on your list, don't tell us where it comes, but jump in. Why did you pick it?
I picked it because, again, this is the perfect kind of story for a train. That was really my criteria. Is this story enhanced by the location, or is it held back by the location?
Yeah.
And this is just perfect. You can't, it's a Gene Hackman movie. That alone puts it higher on the list than most of my other picks. Let's be honest here. But yeah, I would give it a 9 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Inside Man, I know you've seen it.
Yeah. Everything Rachel says, including her score as well. It's not on my list. And it was so tough not to put this in there. It was, I was agonizing over a few of these, especially this one. But I had to kind of boil it down to, what frequency do I watch this? How often is it that I will get this movie out and watch it? And that's how I had to be really, really discerning. So, but yeah, this is all day long a 9, if not a 10. It's a great film. It is a great, great film. And what more can you say? I think, Rachel has said it perfectly, especially saying, how she was being very discerning by saying, I wanted to see whether this was enhanced, whether the movie was enhanced by being set on a train, or whether it was a hindrance. And that's the perfect criteria to use, I think. And it's really, really well said, I thought.
Good stuff. All right. Excellent. So that was my number 4 pick. So all of these films have scored 2 points. But of course, it's on Rachel's list somewhere else. So this film is going to get another score. Okay. So let's move on. We're going to go to our number 3 pick now. Rachel, what have you got for us?
Number 3 is another off the wall pick, which was also part of my criteria. I didn't want to pick what everybody else had picked. So I picked Horror Express.
Oh, yes.
1972.
Yes.
Horror Express.
It's
Man,
great.
currently having an orgasm. Not quite sure what's going on.
I'll watch what she's watching.
Horror Express with Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, directed by Eugenio Martin. While on the Trans-Siberian Express, an anthropologist and his rival must contain the threat posed by the former cargo, a prehistoric ape, which is the host for a parasite alien life form. I've never seen this.
It's actually, believe it or not, I'm terribly sorry to sort of interrupt on your time here, Rachel, but this was actually a kind of loose adaptation of John W. Campbell's The Thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Without crediting John W. Campbell, but yeah, sorry, Rachel.
No, that's fine. I was going to mention that as well, but it's like you read the book and then you're like, where can I take this idea?
Yeah.
And yes, it's so you don't have to credit the person, but also I've done that myself where I read something and I'm like, but wouldn't this idea work really well if it was set here? Or if it had this kind of character in it? And that's what I feel like Horror Express is. Plus, it has my 2 favorite actors ever in it. And if it wasn't, if it wasn't Horror Express I was talking about, it might have been number 1, but I put it at number 3. Just to
is this an Italian production? Is this an Italian production?
I'm not the Italian expert. You'd have to ask.
No, I think it might have been a co-production, but I don't think it's entirely Italian. I'm sure it's a co-production. It's probably one of those sort of Franco-Italian Brits, that kind of thing. I did a lot of them. But yeah, it's good. Rachel, I'm so pleased that you picked this movie. Again, this was another one that was on my other list that was ready to go on, and I just had to keep sort of shuffling them around. And this really was one of them. But you're right. I mean, it's definitely worthy of the list. It really is. It's a terrific film.
Good choice. But I still haven't seen it, so it's another one I've got to add to the list. At least, look, I might have seen it when I was a kid. I
reckon you have. I bet you have. I'll bet you have.
It's possible, but I'm not recognizing sort of the Russian vibes. But I feel like I want to watch it. There's a pooch. There's a pooch in it.
I think it is available on YouTube. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, giving him homework this time. Yeah.
He's got Howl and Horror Express.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got lots of films to watch. Oh God, sorry, I hadn't changed the screen. We've still got narrow margin up. Well, I thought I'd changed the screen, but I hadn't changed the screen. So here we go. This is what I meant about the pooch. There we go. It's got a pooch in the film. Okay, ratings out of 10 for Horror Express.
Well, do you want to go first or shall I?
I'll go first.
Go on.
I'll definitely give it a 9, especially for the kind of movie that it is. It's a 70s horror movie, which this is the one time where I'm like, yes, the 70s were the best time. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So yes, I say it's a 9.
And it's got Telly Savalas in it as well.
Yeah.
Look at that. Telly Savalas during the height of his Kojak era, no less. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's one for you disconcerting children to watch back home.
I've got to be honest with you. I mean, this again, I have to agree with Rachel. This is definitely a 9. I think it looks beautiful. I mean, the color is incredible. It really does look beautiful, as well as being a good, fun movie to watch. Had a lot of fun watching this, and I think it is available on YouTube as well.
It is. I've just found it. I was about to say, let's watch a clip of it, and I will put the link for it in the chat for people to see. So
a very, 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 very lengthy opening title sequence. I will just say,
really
very long.
Everyone and their dog gets a mention in that title sequence.
Yeah.
Wormy Spoons loves him. Some Telly Savalas.
Kelly Savalas.
You're thinking of Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah. No. I think he's been reading your book. The first.
Oh, that's a typo. That's the typo from Silver Screen Journeys in the first edition. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, good spot there, mate.
Doing. Well done.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Well, good. Lance screwed the pooch on that one. Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Yeah, Source Code is not a bad film set on a train. It's not on my list, but it might be on someone else's. You're gonna have to wait and see. The link for Horror Express is in there. I think we'll have a quick look. We'll risk playing a little bit. Hope we don't get a copyright doodah. But let's see. Let's have a look. Okay, there's Peter Cushing. No, sorry, I mean, dun dun dun. Okay, well, now you're gonna have to watch it. Okay, so good choice, Rachel. Inside Man, what's your number 3 pick?
My number 3 pick, it's The Great Train Robbery with Sean Connery, Donald Sutherland, and Leslie Ann Down, otherwise known as the first Great Train Robbery here in the UK.
Yeah.
All shot entirely on location in the UK, written and directed by Michael Crichton. And so this kind of a little bit of a theme with my movies at the moment, I think, because they're all kind of period train movies. So Sean Connery's character embarks on a fairly kind of daring mission to relieve a train of the Crimean gold, which is going to go out to pay the troops. And of course, he recruits Donald Sutherland and Leslie Ann Down and many other people. And it's a very, very, very complex scenario that ensues. They have to retrieve these keys, and they have to be. They're all in various locations, so different people have these 4 keys, so they have to somehow purloin these keys. But there's a great, really incredibly tense scene in a train station where Donald Sutherland is counting, and they're trying to retrieve one of the keys. Oh, it's amazing. It's just amazing. And Sean Connery did all of his own stunts on this, all the running on top of the train, and apparently it was supposed to go something like 15 miles an hour. And they timed it, and they got it all working and all timed, and had the right lenses on the cameras to make it look like everything was whizzing past really fast. So they got the train back to the first position, started it all over again, and all of a sudden the train was like hitting 70 while he was on top of the train.
Oh shit!
Performing all these different stunts, yeah.
Oh my god!
And all of that, when the bridges, the near misses with the bridges and everything,
Yeah.
that was all done for real by him. So he did a lot of his own stunts in this.
He was earning his pay on this one.
He really was, but I think he had an absolute riot making this movie. I think it was one of these movies that he really enjoyed doing. But he's great in it, as always. I mean, what movie has Sean Connery been in where you've thought, he's put in a bad performance? He is great. But it's a lovely movie with a great score by Jerry Goldsmith. Fantastic musical accompaniment to this movie. Really good. But yeah, lovely film. And boy, could Michael Crichton direct. He really could direct movies. Yeah. I mean, look at things like Westworld. Coma, I think, was one of his, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, didn't he write the book for Coma as well?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But yeah, very good film. I love it. I just love it. It's charming. It's it's funny. There's a lot of tension in there, and of course, it's a heist movie. It's a train heist movie. Brilliant. Just brilliant.
Do you remember where you were when you first watched it? Because I saw it on TV. I want to say around sort of like the early 80s.
I went to the cinema to see this.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Mate, I keep forgetting you're 68. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, Rachel, where did you first see it?
Oh, I saw it on television, of course. It was on TMC.
It was on TMC. Okay.
Yeah, that's where they put. Or was it TC? No, it was on TCM. That's where they put the old movies, which is
Oh yeah,
I
the
don't
ton
think
of
that's
classic
fair.
movies. Yeah, yeah, ton of classic
Yeah.
movies.
I don't think that's fair. Honestly, it's not an old movie; it's a classic movie.
It's a classic movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good film. Good film.
All right. So that's Inside Man and Rachel Percy's number 3 pick. It's time for mine. Can you guess what it is?
I have a feeling that your number 3 pick, right? Would it be a 2-word title?
It would not.
It would not.
Hmm.
It would not be a two-word title.
Right. Okay. Strangers on a Train.
Also not that. No.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, this film was made in 1966. It was inspired by true events to a degree.
Operation Windfall.
Oh, now it's playing. Hold on,
Time
right,
out
yeah.
25.
There we go. I've just found it. Thank God. And I'm gonna play the beginning of it. Absolutely love the beginning of this movie. And I remember when I first watched it as a kid, I was like straight into it. I was like, oh, this is really exciting. And as Rachel says, the film does have some issues, and I'll get into those because there are certain elements of it that have perhaps dated somewhat. But I'm just looking to see how I can share the audio here. I'm a little bit concerned that this might not. I think I need to share it from Chrome. If I hold on, I'm going to have to close some windows. So just give me 2 seconds here. Those people in the chat, while you're listening, what would your number 3 pick be? I'd like to know. Okay, yeah. So this is an open. Now I might be able to share sound on this. I'm not sure. Let's see. If you can't hear the sound, tell me. I'm going to press play. Tell me, guys, if you can hear the sound.
Operation.
Can you hear the audio?
Some of it, yeah.
I just paused it, but you could hear it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, let me play it. Oh, I just love this opening. And then we go into the opening credits, and this is the Great St. Trinian's train robbery, which in my opinion is the best St. Trinian's film ever made. And I saw this with my parents one holiday whenever it was on in probably the late 70s, I think I first saw it. And I think it was the first St. Trinian's film that was in colour.
Yeah.
Because there were 2 before this that were black and white.
Yeah.
And of course, in the 60s, we had the Great Train Robbery, which has been adapted into a couple of miniseries. You've got Buster with Phil Collins, which is also
Terrible film. Terrible
yeah,
movie.
It's not the best. He's quite good though. I thought Phil Collins was pretty good in that. But so this was inspired by those events, and they kind of the robbery is very similar. It's the same tactics are used and all the rest of it. But it's basically a battle of wits between the robbers who stored the loot in what was at the time a closed down building, only to find when they go back to the loot that the St. Trinian's girls' school has reopened in that building. And when they try and go and get the money, the girls attack them, and unfortunately they're unable to. Now, a huge portion of the film, not all of the film, but a huge portion of the film, probably from about the halfway point, basically becomes set on trains, and there's good old Arthur Daly, George Cole,
yeah, Flash Harry.
Yeah, we use that music in my play. But this film was also influenced by like James Bond at the time, when like he's got this special camera and he's trying to work out what to do with it. So the robbers are trying to work out how to get the money out of school. The girls discover the
Not so as smoothly as you think, Alfred. Listen carefully. I've just learned that Noakes, the insurance assessor, has been seen near the school talking to an unknown man.
So good old Frankie Howard. So there's a lot of sort of comedy actors of the day in this. But what's really great is really the final chase sequence. The robbers disguise themselves as a catering company for the school open day. They come in and they manage to remove the loot, and the girls go after them with George Cole's character Flash Harry and so on. And then it becomes this. There's this constant chase sequence which they filmed on this old train line, back and forth with various people trying to get the money and so on. I just think it's a really good film. There's some stuff in it that's a bit dodge. Like at one point, in order to evade the police, Frankie Howard blacks up and pretends to be a Pakistani station worker, and he puts on the accent. And I mean, like, that's very problematical, and quite cringeworthy. In fact, you know what? As I've got the film here, should we find that scene and let's have a look at it? But I really do like the train chase, and there's a lot. It is really fun. And I remember watching like one of the modern St. Trinian's movies, and I just thought, God, this thing is just so fucking boring. So, and then there's a joke with this Indian guy who is the station manager, and he's because of the girls have captured one train, and then they steal the robbers' train, and they're all going up and down. He's proper but I'm going to try and find the bit where Frankie Howard does the dodgy that dodgy bit. Very dodgy. But yeah, I do like it. Like I say, it's a bit dated. You can find this in various places. It's probably on YouTube. I've got the DVD of it, and so on. And eventually the girls managed to steal the money and all the rest of it. So yeah. I mean, you know, that wouldn't fly today.
No.
But I do love this film. I mean, maybe it's partly nostalgia, but there's you know, I just love it. It's a lot of fun. A couple of interesting footnotes about the movie. So there's a lot of sort of that era, Stallworth kind of British cast in this film. The lady who plays the head of the school, Dora Bryan, plays Amber Spottiswoode. She's fantastic in this. Yeah. And she's a great actress.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, she was.
Been in many things, but she's just really, really fun in this, and she you know, you can tell she's having fun with this movie. I really liked her as an actress, just generally kind of a British screen idol of the 50s and 60s. You also had Reg Varney was in it from On the Buses.
Yeah.
So he's one of the criminals. So there's various people that have popped up at different times. I remember doing a check on this not that long ago, and I think there's only one of the original cast is still alive, and a couple of the girls. But of the girls, what's really interesting is, and I don't know if you know this story inside man, is James Mason's, so big actor James Mason.
Yeah.
His daughter is in this film. Just trying to find her in the cast list here. Oh, Carol Ann Ford is in this film as well, who of course was in the Dalek movie. Yeah. So she's one of the teachers in this. But James Mason's daughter was in this. I think she might be uncredited, so she might be down here. Sally Geeson was in it as one of the schoolgirls as well. Yeah. But yeah, a really sad story that I didn't know until I was researching this some time ago. She actually passed away quite young.
Did she?
Yeah, and I know she's definitely one of the girls in the movie. I'll see if I can get a clip with her in. And I mean, she passed away, like I think it's in her 30s.
Man.
Yeah, so it's a really, really sad, sad
Goodness.
story. I wonder if we're gonna get some kind of a telling off for you from YouTube for showing that potentially racist clip.
How dare you?
But you know, I mean, the film is a product of its time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are a number of things about it for me that still hold up really well, which is one of the reasons I like it so much.
Yeah.
I think James Mason's daughter is in this shot. I think because she's one of the girls in Flash Harry's car. So George Cole must have loved that because he was basically driving around all day with forfeit birds in his car.
Yeah.
So, terrible job. That's her, the blonde girl there.
Oh.
That's James Mason's daughter.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah.
But I mean, these were, you're right. It's a product of its time, but that really shouldn't diminish, its enjoyability, really, and but all movies are products of their time, so I think, whether we look back at these things and we disapprove, we can disapprove as much as we like, but these films are there that, I don't think, we should be taking anything out of them or having them on a streaming service or re-released on Blu-ray or whatever and having scenes removed, because I think we're far more intelligent than that. We're far more discerning than that we need to be dictated to what it is that we can and can't watch. I mean, there's loads of stuff that has things that by today's standards would be considered offensive, but you're right about the remake movies. They were terrible. I mean, absolutely diabolical in comparison. I mean, these ones, look at the cast that we had in these movies, in the Centrinians movies. So we had Cecil Parker, had Alistair Sim, Joyce Grenfell, Dora Bryant, and of course with Alistair Sim and George Cole, because I don't know whether many people out there know this, but George Cole was the adopted son of Alistair Sim. I believe he was a Barnardo's boy.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, he was the adopted son of Alistair Sim, and that's why he played the young Ebenezer Scrooge in the fantastic version of A Christmas Carol, or Scrooge as it was, with Alistair Sim, or as Ebenezer Scrooge. So he was young Ebenezer Scrooge, and Alistair Sim was the older Ebenezer Scrooge. Yeah, so yeah, he was his adopted son, and a lovely man.
That's a great little factoid there. Yeah, so fantastic stuff. Yeah, so let's move on. Okay, so that was my number 3. So we're on to our number 2 pick. Ooh. Okay, so our number 2 pick. So Rachel, what you got? And I'll just read this out from Darth Plato. Hey, I thought you were starting at 1:30 American time. Looks like I missed the train. I see what you did there. Yeah, originally I was going to go at 9:30 because I thought I was going to be late, but I wasn't late, and I'm a bit knackered, so I wanted to put it back to the original time. So sorry about that. Yes, let's go. What's your number 2 pick, Rachel?
My number 2 was actually Narrow Margin. And since we already talked about it, I want to say the original is a very good movie as well.
Okay.
That is
Did you want to say anything else about it before we move on?
I do think that Narrow Margin is how you update a movie like the original. It adds elements to it that enhance the story, not subtract from the story.
Yeah. I'm not sure I've seen the original, actually.
Very good.
What year was the original made?
1952.
Right, okay. Who were the 2 leads in that? Do you remember?
Hang on, let me look. I had it, and then I got rid of it. I knew I was going to talk about it instead, but here we go. Charles McGraw.
Snorterpooper says they should make Snakes on a Train, the prequel to Snakes on a Plane. I see what you did there. Darth Plato, glad to hear your day wasn't derailed, Lance. Yeah, more of those to come, no doubt.
The train puns are wonderful.
Okay.
Snakes on a space shuttle.
So your number 2 pick was Narrow Margin. That was my. That's the first double up we've had. So that was my number 4 pick. So that means that Narrow Margin is currently in the lead with 5 points to be the number 1 contender train movie. Let's see. Let's see if that changes. Okay. So Inside Man, what's your number 2 pick?
My number 2 pick is Von Ryan's Express.
Do you know what? I had a feeling that was going to be on your list.
Excellent pick.
Yeah,
I do like the movie. Has to be said.
Yeah. And one of the things that I like about it is the conflict between the 2 lead characters. So you have the American flying officer and the British officer in the POW camp, and
Trevor,
of course
Trevor Howard is the British officer.
Yes, he is. Yeah. So we have Frank Sinatra's character and Trevor Howard's character, and they're at odds with each other. So because Sinatra's character is the ranking officer, he orders all escape attempts to cease in this Italian prisoner of war camp. But of course, Trevor Howard says, "Well, hang on a minute. You might outrank me, but we are still gonna. It's our duty to escape. That's what we do. You're not going to stop us." But of course, because of all the escape attempts, all the privileges have been denied by the Italians. And Sinatra starts taking charge. Although he butts heads with, I think it's Battaglia, the Italian camp commandant. In essence, he starts to sort of bow down to him a little bit, and certain things occur which has some quite significant consequences. I really don't want to go into too much because if no one's seen it, I really don't like to spoil it. But subsequently, the Italians have surrendered. They've left the camp, and of course they want to get to Switzerland. All the prisoners need to get to Switzerland, so they have to do this by hijacking a German troop train and posing as Germans. Of course, they're passing through all these different stations, and what they don't know is that there's a German train that's on their tail, full of German troops. That they know what's going on. And of course, again, it's another one that has a wholly unexpected ending. But there's some lovely acting from Frank Sinatra. I mean, I never really rated him too much as an actor. I know that's probably going to annoy a lot of people, but I never rated him too much as an actor. But some of the roles that he's played, he's done exceptionally well in, and this is one of them. But playing opposite Trevor Howard, I think they've got a fantastic kind of interplay between the 2 characters. Absolutely electric. It's really, you can feel the sparks kind of crackle and fly between the 2 of them. It's just brilliant, just utterly brilliant. Beautifully shot. I think it was shot almost entirely in Italy, although the POW camp I think was just outside of LA. That was supposed to have been in Italy.
Is it? Am I right remembering this correct? The woman who's on screen now, is she the one who's like the traitor? And there's that whole sequence where, when they've taken over the train, she's going to try and warn them that the train's been taken over. They gun her down, dressed as Germans, and all the Italians start.
Spoiler.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Spoiler. It's an old film. Everyone's going to have seen it, apart from people under 30.
And but again, another wonderful Jerry Goldsmith score. Just brilliant. Absolutely one of my favorite Goldsmith scores. I mean, what a versatile composer this man was. But yeah, there are elements of The Great Escape in this. There are elements of Prisoner of Kwai in this. Yeah, it's a real proper boys' own adventure movie. I loved it. This is, although not a true story, we had things like Kelly's Heroes and Dirty Dozen and Von Ryan's Express and Where Eagles There. This is in that same mold. Really, really good action movie. Done very, very well. I love it. I just love this movie, and I love Sinatra in this movie as well.
You've got Edward Mulhare from Knight Rider there, and of course,
yes,
Wolfgang Priest pops up in this film again.
Again,
go-to German actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the production, of course, it was based originally on a book by David Westheimer, and apparently the ending of the book apparently is a lot more upbeat because this has a killer ending.
Literally.
Remember, Ryan, if even one gets out, that's a victory.
Yeah,
I remember that line. So yeah, the rights were purchased. Originally, Anthony Quinn was going to be the star of this film.
Interesting.
So once again, a bit like what happened with the Mag 7, it was going to be an Anthony Quinn project. Frank Sinatra read the novel, wanted to buy the film rights himself. So when Fox actually got the rights, he basically offered himself up for the role, and that's how that all came about.
One of my favorite lines in it is where Trevor Howard, something occurs, which I'm not going to say, but something occurs, and he turns around and says, "You'll get your Iron Cross for this, Ryan."
Yeah,
and I'm not going to say what it is. You know what it is, but it's it's a great film. I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, it's interesting as well that Sinatra was the one who insisted that the ending of the film be altered.
Good call.
Destroying any chance of the sequel. I think it was a great ending. It was actually one of the first times I saw a movie where it had that kind of ending. And look, there's James Seeking again from Narrow Margin.
Yeah, there you go.
Look how young he is there. Damn, man. I didn't know. Do you know what? I didn't know he was in this movie, or I certainly haven't made.
He likes a train movie.
Young James Brolin, as well.
Yeah.
On the right there. So, a lot of great train sequences. They were shot at Caminito del Rey Walkway in the limestone gorge of El Chorro near Malaga in Spain.
In Spain, right?
In Spain, yeah. So the majority of the film was shot on location around northern Italy, railway station in Florence, etc., etc. And then that final mountain sequence that was done in Spain, probably because that's where they were able to get the whole thing with the bridge and all the rest of it. So to work properly. And yes, you're right. The POW camp was interiors were completed at 20th Century Fox Studios in Los Angeles, and the POW camp was built in the front lot of the studios. So there you go. So definite co-production. Yeah, it was a critical and commercial success. Basically a ripping adventure, which I saw for the first time at Christmas, I want to say. Yeah, that's a typical Saturday night for Inside Man there.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
So Sergio Fantoni is the Italian guy with the eye patch, isn't he? I think. Yeah. No, it's a good film. I've got it on DVD. It's one of those films I can just sort of whack on a Sunday afternoon. But yeah, it is a good movie. So, not Frank. It says, okay, all right. So that's your number 2 pick. My number 2 pick. Can you guess what it is? I have a feeling that this might be on your list, Inside Man. It could be your next film.
Is this a 2-word title?
No,
it's not.
No.
Oh God, has it got numbers in it?
It has, yeah.
It has.
Yeah. So my number 2 pick is indeed The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. This was a late night film that I saw, and I just was like, back in the day, this was kind of advertised as an action film, which it isn't. It's a suspense drama. But but you know, as you can see on the poster here, they're really selling the kind of, hey, there's guys with machine guns, so there's going to be lots of action in it. There isn't lots of action, but it is such a great movie with incredible performances, brilliant script. Walter Matthau is absolutely fantastic in this film. Robert Shaw, brilliant. I love all the actors in this movie. They did a remake of this film, which is absolutely dreadful. Just a totally unnecessary
It's awful.
remake.
Yeah.
Awful.
But it's basically a story about a group of robbers that hold a load of people hostage on a train. They stop the train in the tunnel, and there's a ransom. If the ransom isn't paid by a certain time, one of the passengers is going to be executed. And so, of course, there's a lot of running around and so on. So basically, you know, it's just this incredible, super tense drama, and one of the best films of the decade. It's also got one of my favorite character actors of all time, which is Hector Alonso, who most people will know as the Beverly Wilshire manager from Pretty Woman. But this is the first time I'd ever seen him in anything, was this film. And he's an actor that I absolutely love. I've been trying to get him to come on this channel for an interview, not succeeding, sadly. I even asked Gail Ann Hurd if she knew him, and unfortunately she did not, because she's never worked with him. But yeah, there's one scene where you know someone's going to get executed, and that scene in particular is really tense and very well done. Yeah, it's great. It's got a great ending, absolutely killer ending, ton of fun. Yeah, but it's the performances that really make this film. This shot is kind of the ending. That's the last shot of the movie. So, you know, yeah. So, I mean, it is an amazing film. Now, this could have been my number one, and it was close to being that. It was a bit of a toss up, but ultimately it wasn't. So, yeah, Inside Man. I'm sure you got loads you want to say about it. So, chip away now.
Yeah, I mean, this was a movie. It's such a special movie to me. I mean, it just evokes so many wonderful, wonderful memories of, you know, when I was a little kid. You know, it was not long after its actual release that I saw this movie. So, and we saw it at home. We hired a big 16mm camera, projector. So we had it on about sort of like 10 reels, and my poor dad had to, you know, keep changing over the reels every 20 minutes. And, you know, so there was myself and, you know, my family and all these other sort of British expats that were, you know, having a whale of a time watching this movie. And it just evokes so many memories in me. But I just remember being so incredibly thrilled, and then seeing it again, watching it again, several years later. I mean, I was really pumped watching it. The action in it is good. You know, some wonderful photography of New York back in the day. You know, I think we've all mentioned about movies being time capsules at one point or another on the Nielsen ratings, but this really is a time capsule of New York, and it's
very much
it's
captures
lovely.
that era of New
Yeah,
York. New York was kind of quite run down and dirty, especially in the central area. At that time, and it's sort of it's quite a grim city in that period, as portrayed in this movie.
The photography is amazing in it. I mean, really, really, really good photography. And I've got an older DVD version of this, which is as good as any Blu-ray that you will see. It's such a pristine, cleaned up version of it, and it's in proper anamorphic. You know, so it's quite a very, very narrow picture. And it's just been reissued by Arrow, so they've done a fantastic job on that as well. So,
have you got the Arrow? Have you got the Arrow version?
No, I've got it on order. Funny enough,
right.
And yeah, so it's just a special movie for me. And of course, you know, evidently inspired Tarantino. You know, Mr. Gray, Mr. Green, Mr. Blue, Mr. Brown, and but I love Walter Matthau in it. You know, old walnut face, whose hair just is insanely black. It just got darker with age. You know, most men, their hair goes grey. His just turned jet black. You know, unnaturally black hair. I wonder how that happened, but yeah, he's got a great walnut face. You know, he literally just looks like a walnut. You know, there's great wrinkles and hanging, you know, skin all over his face. He's just, yeah, I love him. I've always loved him anyway.
I think this was because I saw this film when I was very young. It was the first time it was screened on TV, and I convinced my parents to let me stay up and watch it. And I don't think it was a school night the next day, so it must have been like a Friday or Saturday. Yeah, and I think this was the first time I saw Walter Matthau in anything. I don't think I'd seen him in anything before this, not that I can remember. So this was the film that put him on the map for me as an actor. I probably had seen Jaws. So, yeah.
But it's just a great film, and what I love about this movie now is that for a long period of time, this film had gone so unappreciated, really unappreciated, and had been gathering dust for a long time. And now I think, you know, in the past 5 years or so, people are really switching onto this, and I think it's really due to, you know, I suppose Tony Scott did do a good job on really reviving people's interest in the original, because, you know, everyone was saying, you know, this is a terrible film. You know, the remake was a terrible film.
Yeah.
And of course now people saying, well, you know, have you seen the original? No, never heard of it. So they've all gone out and watched it. So now they know that, you know, there's this great movie that has been publicized by this terrible movie, which is fantastic. You know, I adore it. I absolutely adore it. You know, this is,
this I give this film 10 out of 10 actually.
Yeah, and a banging score by David Shire, just brilliant. One of those great 70s scores. Yeah.
Rachel, have you seen it? You got anything you want to say about it?
Yes, I have, and I only saw it because I saw the Tony Scott remake, and I personally love Tony Scott, but that is not one of his movies.
No,
that's not one of his good movies.
It's a poison chalice, really. I mean, first of all, trying to remake this film is kind of pointless, and secondly, that just didn't add anything new or different. It was just a bit lame, really.
Right.
It was a bit naff.
There was no reason to touch this. There was no reason to remake this movie. That's why I generally don't like remakes, because they pick movies that are classics, that are perfect as they are.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but we need to update it. Do you? No, you don't. You need to re-release the classic and let people enjoy it as it is.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 10 as well.
Yeah.
The film was directed by Joseph Sargent, a name that might not mean anything to a lot of people, but and unfortunately he did direct Jaws: The Revenge, but he also directed Colossus: The Forbin Project, which I absolutely love.
Brilliant film. Brilliant film.
Really good. And he did a lot of TV movies and things of that nature, and various other bits and pieces. But yeah, I would say this was probably his crowning glory. And I mean, you know,
definitely,
you know, any director would be chuffed to have this on there.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just because of Tony Scott's movie. You know, as Rachel has said, you know, this has really suddenly grown legs, and you know, people are really going out of their way to watch it. Hence the new remastered version by Arrow. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, this is definitely his crowning glory. Although Colossus: The Forbin Project is a very close second. It's a good movie, and without that, we wouldn't have had Terminator 2.
No.
You know, so
indeed. Okay, so that was my number 2 pick. So guys, we're on the number 1 spot currently, narrow margin, which is the only film to have appeared twice thus far. is in the lead with 5 points. Okay, so Rachel, what's your number one?
My number one is another Tony Scott movie.
Oh, is it Unstoppable?
I picked Unstoppable.
Oh,
That's it. I've looked at that because I saw that at cinema. Anyway, I'll offer my thoughts in a minute, but let's hear yours.
I chose it for number one because the train is not just a setting. The train is your setting. It's the antagonist in a way for your story.
Mm.
It's everything to this story. The story would not exist if not for the train. And it's based on a true story, which is also great.
Mm.
So it has excellent performances. It's the first thing that I saw Chris Pine in, I believe. I didn't see Star Trek until I saw this.
Right.
And he's just great in it. In my opinion, he's just great. And Denzel Washington working with Tony Scott was, except for one notable movie, was an excellent combination. And it's the last movie that Tony Scott made. And I'm glad that this is the one that was his last and not The Taking of Pelham. Because this movie was everything that he was great at. Everything that he was great at. And I miss that man as a director. I miss him.
Yeah, definitely gone too soon. I was very sad.
Shocking.
Yeah, when he
Shocking.
passed. But yeah, so I saw it at cinema. Went with my friend Deirdre to see that movie, and I mean it was it was a great film in terms of I was interested. I wasn't bored, but as soon as I left the cinema, I found it very forgettable. I have to admit, it didn't stay with me particularly. But that's not to say that it's a bad scene. It's a bad movie. But because I think it's a perfectly competent movie, something for me was missing on it. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. But I don't know. I kind of wanted something a bit more from it, you know. But it's still a great film. Still a great film.
Yeah, it's a very good film. Yeah, it is a very good film. And you're right. I mean, this is, this really, you can tell this is a Tony Scott movie. This is, his indelible thumbprint all over this movie. This is the kind of thing that he does best. And I'm so glad that this was the one, as Rachel says, and not Pelham. That would have been awful. But yeah, you're right, Rachel. I mean, he is missed. He's terribly, terribly missed. We don't have these kind of directors anymore. Because I don't. He was kind of a no nonsense sort of director as well. Again, another. Sorry to drop names, but I was lucky to have worked with him, and a charismatic man. I think is how I would describe him. You knew when he was on the set, even when you didn't see him. Like you'd know when he was behind you. I don't know. The atmosphere changed. He's one of those kind of people that they walk into a room and everybody turns around and looks at them. It's that kind of charisma. Yeah, I liked him. I liked him a lot.
Wormy Spoons is saying this film didn't stoke my furnace. I see those train pundits are still coming in.
Yeah.
Let's just hope they're not delayed. What would you guys give Unstoppable out of 10?
Rachel.
Yeah, it's not a 10. I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
Go for it, Inside Man.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it's a perfectly serviceable film. I mean, for me, it's probably a 7. But it's it's a decent movie. It's a proper movie.
I would agree. It's a 7. It was a very competently made film. I wasn't bored, but I just sort of, it was one of those films when I came out of it, I was like, am I going to buy the Blu-ray of that one day? The answer is no, because yeah, it was fun, but I didn't really want to watch it again. So Dan Candy gives it an 8. All right, so it's the number 1 spot for The Inside Man. Did you have Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3?
I had the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
I think you've already said everything you want to say about that, I'm guessing. All right, so
it's in the lead. It's in the lead.
It is in the lead because I picked it as my number 2. You picked it as your number 1. It gets 5 points for you, 4 points from me. It's got 9 points, so it's superseded narrow margin. Well, let's talk about my number 1 pick, and that would be Silver Streak.
Yeah.
Now, there's a theme here, which is blackface.
Yeah.
Once again, this movie also has some blackface in it. Let's have a quick look.
Oh.
By the way, can you hear the sound? Just checking.
No sound.
Bollocks. This is why I thought I'd better check. So one of the reasons I really like this film is it was one of the first kind of action adventure comedies that I ever saw.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd seen one up to that point. So I was quite enamored with the whole thing. It was the first time I'd ever seen Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor together. I'd seen Willy Wonka, so I was familiar with Gene Wilder. This is the first time I ever saw Richard Pryor in anything. This was an on-TV watch. I just remember really liking it, the movie, and it, like Gene Wilder's character. I mean, the story basically it's a sort of murder mystery then action film.
Yeah.
But Gene sort of stumbles on a plot to do with an art dealing scam and various people being murdered and so on, and then teams up with a car thief, Richard Pryor, about halfway through the film to outwit the bad guys. One of whom is played by Patrick McGoohan of The Prisoner fame, who of course will go on to play the villain in Braveheart. But yeah, there's blackface in this movie. Let's have a quick look at part of the trailer here.
That's my man. That's my man. I don't think we'll make it past the cops.
We'll make it past the cops. I just hope we don't see no Muslims.
It's wrong. Yeah. So yeah, but I really rate this movie. I mean, I've watched it recently. Dan Candy's a big fan of it as well, and I really enjoyed rewatching it actually. And that was something I did especially for the stream. It's really well directed, and you can see what a great time the two actors are having. And also Jill Clayburgh as the romantic interest is great in it. She's got good chemistry with Gene Wilder. Scatman Crothers is in there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fun to be had here, and the stuff on the train is really well done.
Yeah.
Different title for different countries. Yeah, I think that would be the British poster. I would have loved to have seen this in the cinema actually.
I did see this in the cinema.
Well, yeah, I know because you're ancient, so you were able to see these things in the cinema. Darth Plato says, we're on the subject of trains. Silver Streak takes place in the James Bond universe. Does it? Okay, I'll take your word for it. Yeah. So yeah, the theme for Silver Streak is also good. Yeah, this movie.
Henry Mancini, wasn't it? Henry Mancini scored this.
I think it was. He did the Pink Panther. So
Yeah.
this movie is a straight up 10 for me, out of 10. Absolutely love it. I'm surprised it wasn't on anybody else's list, but I mean that way we got to talk about more films. So yeah, this is the guy who dies outside the window that he thinks he sees, and it's got a bit of a Lady Vanishes kind of storyline going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. So Rachel, any thoughts on the film? You wanna say anything?
I will say the only reason I didn't put it on my list is I knew that either you or Inside Man would pick it as your number 1 or number 2. So I was like, I'll pick something else.
Yeah.
But it absolutely deserves where it is. It deserves
it
where it
does.
is. It's great fun.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, Richard Keel's in this as well, isn't he? Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Plays
There you go.
one of the villain henchman people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the James Bond universe. There you go.
Jaws is in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is effectively playing the same character, funnily enough. This sequence where the train crashes into the station is very well realized.
Yeah. Very.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that, I think that scene, was used for an episode of the A-Team, and various other scenes on the train. Some of the stunts that you see from the exterior of the train were also used for the Fall Guy. They just sort of snipped bits out. As they usually do, yeah.
Yeah, the one where Gene Wilder's character grabs hold of the thing and like the
That's
water
right.
tower and sort of spins round, and
That's it. Yeah.
yeah, that's on the Fall Guy titles. Because we were talking about that when we were talking about Skyriders. There's a load of clips from Skyriders on the Fall Guy titles. Yeah. So number 1 pick, but points wise, Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 is the winner.
Yay!
So that gets the ultimate train movie accolade. So yeah, I love this whole action sequence at the end. Incidentally,
I mean, I would agree with Rachel that this deserves to be in these top 5s and deserves to be at someone's number 1. And I would say that I would probably have put this in, but I did know that you were going to have this, and I thought it would just be, it wasn't in my top 5, but it could well have been. I mean, I was agonizing over some of these decisions, to be honest.
I was surprised that nobody picked one of the few Canon films that was really good, Runaway Train.
Runaway Train. That was another one.
I thought someone was going to pick that. It's a bit of a grim movie, but it's really well done.
If we'd done a top 10, it would have been there.
Yeah, it definitely would have been in my top 10. This film, by the way, going back to Silver Streak, was directed by Arthur Hillier.
Yeah.
Is it? Do you pronounce it Hillier or Hiller? Hiller. It's Hiller. Isn't it? Sorry.
Hiller. Yeah.
Who lived to the ripe old age of 92. I mean, he had an incredible directing career. I want to say as well, wasn't he the guy behind Hotel, which was the TV series that you were?
Oh no, that was Arthur Haley.
Oh, right, yeah. Sorry, that's why I'm just getting them mixed up. But he did also direct, among his many credits, he did Out of Towners, he did Love Story, where he won a Best Director nomination. He did Plaza Suite, which is one of my favorite films, Man of La Mancha, 1972. And then also did Author, 82, The Lonely Guy with Steve Martin, 1984, Teachers in 1984. Outrageous Fortune, which is a forgotten film, actually.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
it's a great movie. He also did See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Richard Pryor and Gene again, further down the road. And then he was also the director of an Alan Smithy film, Burn Hollywood Burn. And he hated the film so much he insisted on being credited as Alan Smithy. So that was kind of nuts. I don't know whether that was a publicity stunt or what. I don't think it did the film any favors. But yeah, I've got lots of affection for this film. I used to here's a funny thing. So I used to record all my films on audio before we had or could afford a video recorder. So I'd have all these audio cassettes of movies, and I'd play them in the background and stuff. And one of the things I'll never forget about this movie is there's a sequence where Wilder and Pryor have nicked a car and they're driving sort of overnight, and it's a bit of a montage sequence with background audio. And my dad came in at that point saying, "What's the film like? Is it good?" Because he was forced to stay downstairs and watch something with Mum. So I always remember when I was playing the recording, I'd be like, So what's it like? Is it your dad's voice suddenly comes in? Dad, I'm recording. I'm recording the thing. There's this little like spat between us. It's quite funny. I wish I hadn't thrown those audio tapes away because I had about 400 of them.
I used to do exactly the same. I did exactly the same as you.
I had the Battle of the Bulge movie was like over 3 D60 tapes, you know, because it was like 3 hours, and Bridge Too Far was like 2 D90s, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. RRTNZ says for $5, these are his picks. A bit late, but Bullet Train, source code, Snowpiercer. Now I like Snowpiercer. I just don't like it as much as the other films. Taking a Pelham 123 and Murder on the Orient Express. Good choices there, sir. So yeah, fantastic. Okay, well that's it then. We're at the end.
We've hit the buffers. I'm afraid
we have hit the buffers.
We've pulled into the station, and we're just about to disembark.
Indeed. So we're going to be back for the Nielsen ratings on Tuesday, where Rachel is now an official member of our panel. And new credits are being done, especially to incorporate that. So you guys can expect to see those soon.
Excellent.
And going forward, we're going to lose Northern Bastard, who's got to focus on other projects. So unfortunately, he will pop back from time to time when he has the time. But we're going to lose him from our panel. So Rachel, your coming was quite fortuitous in terms of your timing there, because I was trying to keep it to 4 people. Darth Plato for $2. Best train sequence in a Bond movie. Well, you got the one with Jaws in Spy Love Me, but I do quite like the one with the guy with the claw in Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. No one picked No Train to Busan. No, we didn't. Yeah. It's a good zombie film, but is it a great train film? No.
I don't really like zombie movies, or it may have been on there.
There we are. So so Nielsen ratings on Tuesday. There's no Nielsen ratings the week after that. And Chew the Fat on Sunday will be back in July. I haven't quite finally decided which one. 310 to Yuma, incidentally, would not be a valid pick. Why? Because almost none of the film takes place on a train. It takes place in a town with a train station.
There's a lot of movies that I was considering, and then I was like, wait a minute, it might be just 25% of the movie, or just the beginning.
I cheated a little bit with the St. Trinian's Great Train Robbery because I said sort of minimum 50% of the running time needs to be on the train, but it starts with a train robbery. The whole film is about the train robbery, and then you have a massive train chase sequence. So I felt thematically and content-wise that really did.
Same kind of thing with the Sean Connery, Michael Crichton Great Train Robbery. You know, most of it is the setup, but the Great Train Robbery, it's the main part of the movie.
I'll give you that one. It's key element of the story and so on. All right. Well, okay. That's it from us. Just remains for me to thank my panel. Rachel, Percy, art commissions now available, and the Inside Man, and all of the people that have contributed in the chat. Got a couple of new names. Pathetic Hermit, thank you for joining us, buddy. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. You're most welcome to the channel, and I do try and read out as many of the comments as I can. Darth Plato, the train has left the station. Romeo, enjoyed this, guys. Happy to have kept rolling on with train trivia without being railroaded. Now I see thinking the end of Speed to be considered. Speed is set on a bus. If we'd done a stream, great movies set on a bus, you'd have like Speed, and then I think there's one other one with hostages in a bus or something.
The Big Bus would be a good one.
The Big Bus, yeah. But I mean, you're not exactly spot for choice for bus movies, are you? So that's it from us until Tuesday night at 10 o'clock when we will be back with the Nielsen ratings. Thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. We very much appreciate your support. But that's good night from Rachel, and it's good night from me.
And it's good night from them.
He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcasts Creative, we're breaking through. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Hang with Lance and the Outcast crew. Interviews with fellow artists on the rise, and reviews that might surprise. Films, TV shows from back in the day. You might just find a hidden gem today.